Hey everyone, so today I am going to be going over Soul. And the reason I'm going to be going over Soul is because he just got his Kaigen in Japan, and there seems to be a lot of misunderstanding regarding this particular unit. Um, he is a strong unit, but there are some stipulations surrounding him, and I'm going to be going over them, his pros, his cons, and really just straight out tell you whether you should pull for him or not. And I don't normally like to tell people what they should and shouldn't do, but Sol is a really special case because it it's been really hard to tell exactly how powerful he is from a global player's perspective, unless they know several people from the Japan server to really get a good grasp on how well Sol is doing. So I'm just gonna come straight out. It Sol is not going to be worth chasing in global under any circumstance. Um, Sol came out a little bit before Kaigen, if I remember correctly. And when he was released in Japan, he was a godly unit. He was insane. Basically, anything at that point in time that had been made, if it was content, Sol could clear it. Sol was like the Roxy of Japan. But Sol quickly fell from power in Japan. The thing is, Sol was designed with Kaigen in mind. Limited units before him were not necessarily designed with Kaigen in mind, but Sol clearly was, because Sol boasts a Kaigen level unit stats, and just straight up utility. Um, we see this a lot in a lot of limited units after him. For instance, the Crystal of Reunion collaboration and the Attack on Titan collaboration. These all have limited units with Kaigen level stats and utility, and are just all around great units with or without Kaigen. So, why shouldn't you chase him? Well, Sol is a hyper whale unit, and I really do mean that. He is a hyper whale unit. The banners he comes out on are not good. Do not expect a guaranteed banner for him. You're not going to get it. You just simply are not going to get a guaranteed Sol banner. It has never happened in Japan, and it probably never will happen in Japan. And it will probably not happen in global either. Um, it it if you really really like Sol, and you just absolutely refuse to say that you can let Sol pass, he's not a bad unit. He actually is pretty good. Even after he starts getting mostly power crept by the Dark Kaigen units, a lot of which came really early, just almost invalidating Sol's presence in the Dark unit field, he still does have the niche of being one of, if not the most powerful, Dark Mage. And his ability to do shot and dark damage can be very helpful. The other units really you're looking at for Dark Magic are what? We have Maya and Rada, both who are 4 stars. Rada's not even going to get her Kaigen for a long time. Maya gets hers pretty early, but that's still only 2 Dark Magic units. We have Anne Rose, I think. Brigitte didn't get her Job Plus until December, which changed her Beastmaster into Magic, and before that, Summoner's just too slow. So Sol isn't a bad unit. If you step 1 a Sol, you can safely 75 him and just enjoy him. He'll be a powerful unit for you. But the one concern I have about global, more so than in Japan, is with the way things are progressing, Sol is going to come out after Kaigen is released. See, in Japan, he came out before, so everyone who managed to get him could enjoy him for a month or two before the power crept start. Sol is going to release in a pre-power crept state in global, most likely. You are very likely going to be getting your Dark Kaigens, like the Zahar and Rosa, and a little bit later, Anastasia and Kudenstein, about the same time Sol comes out, because Sol is going to come out in Chapter 11 of SSM, and Global doesn't even have Chapter 9 yet. And so far, they've been releasing SSM on about a 2 to 3 month interval, and even if they sped it up to, let's just say, 2 months on the dot, that means that SSM 9 would be coming out in February, SSM10 is going to be coming out in April, and then SSM11 would be coming out in June. I can't tell for certain when Kaigen is going to come to Global, but it's very likely that the major update is going to happen in March. And that doesn't necessarily mean Kaigen is going to come in March. It just means that the major update to, I believe it's 3.0 in Global, is most likely going to be in March. And I personally think that Global will have Nensos by April 1st. And the reason I think that is because there is an April Fool's event that involves a specific unit. And he has a very important Nenso, like an extra 1000 HP and a specialized weapon Nenso. Like, it's actually not even a bad Nenso for, like, Lupinus. He needs to have that Nenso. And if they were to release him without a Nenso, it'd be like releasing half a unit. It just wouldn't be a completed unit, because it's specifically designed to have that Nenso. So I think that Global will have Nensos by April 1st. That, or they're just not going to release that unit for April Fools, and you'll get something completely different. And that is distinctly possible. So that's just my take on it. I don't think Soul is worth chasing, but if you do get him, he is usable. He's very usable. He's a very serviceable unit. He will get some things done for you. He's got a lot of great movement because he's got some teleports. He's got a teleport on his kit, and I believe his weapon ability teleports and does an AoE. He's got multi-hit. He's got AoE. He's got single target. He's got magic. He's got shot damage. It's he's all around just a great unit. It's just he just sort of gets power crept, and his damage is a little on the low side in Japan's meta prior to his Kaigen, and his HP just wasn't where it really needed to be for some of the newer highest end content. So if you really like Soul, you can chase him. Just be aware, there will almost certainly be no guarantee to get him. I don't think they've ever put him on a pick ticket that I'm aware of. And Orion, a unit that you'll get later than that in chapter 11.5, is going to be the same way. Both Orion and Soul are classified as Mega Whale units because there is no shard selectors that you can get for them. It's you either pull them or buy them from straight gems out of the shop if they even appear in there. And that is the only way, as of right now, we have to Kaigen these units. On another note, Brigetta and Belta will both be units like those two, where they are Mega Whale units, but they appear in banners and just in general more often than Soul and Orion do. The Soul and Orion, it's very rare for them to be in a banner, if at all. And they're normally stuck in banners with a ton of other units. Like, you can expect them to be stuck in banners with like half of the entire SSM and Vita cast at the same time, and they'll all be on raid up. So even if you do nail that red, it's still highly unlikely that you're going to actually pull them out. I'm sure everyone at this point has seen the infamous 60k banner. So just some quick notes on his Kaigen upgrades. So he gets the HP he needs, and he gets a limited Nenso. So he is a limited unit with a limited Nenso. And the VCR on it's looking pretty good when you combine it with his farmable piece of gear. His, I don't want to call it a fanny pack or a purse, but it's basically a fanny pack or purse. It's a bag of some sort. It gives him an extra 300 HP, and the VCR itself isn't too shabby stat-wise and gives him an extra attack with 2 charges and I think a 170% attack. It's pretty nuts. And he gets the Magic Swordsman job enchantment. I didn't check which one because pretty much all Magic Swordsman job enchantments are trash. They literally give you no extra stats, and they just give you a flat 100 HP for job maxing them, and that's it. And Soul isn't going to use any of the changes to the skills in that set, so it's pretty irrelevant. But the Divine Shelter in that set is going to gain a Snowball passive. And that for each enemy Soul kills, he'll get 10 missile attack and 10 magic damage. So theoretically, after 10 kills, he should be at 100 missile attack and 100 magic damage, which is just freaking crazy. So Soul is probably back on top. I haven't actually found one yet to play around with. But once again, he's super hard to Kaigen. He's a limited unit who has a limited Denso, and that's really all I got to say on it. Buyer beware. He's probably going to be released pre-power crept, and unless you really, really like Soul, I think he's just a highly skippable unit. I just randomly pulled my Soul out of a 500 step 1 banner that he was in. And this was months and months and months after I had started, so I already have well-established teams. So I didn't really need Soul, which is why I never raised him. But really that choice is yours. I just wanted to say, if you do get him, he is safe to raise. It's just, he might not perform the way you expect him to, because a lot of the hype surrounding Soul happened pre-Kaigen, and it can sometimes be very hard, I think, for global players to grasp the difference between a Kaigen level unit and a non-Kaigen unit. And it's more than just a stat difference. It boils down to how they perform as well, because just the sheer difference in HP and being able to take that extra hit just can actually let your unit do more things than it could before. Like, before Mayfawn got Kaigened, I couldn't use her as haphazardly as I do now, and as carelessly. I had to be very careful with positioning. Soul will be the same, because he just isn't going to have the HP pools in order to make mistakes. The way I like to think of tier listing units is how many mistakes can I make with this unit without getting punished too heavily. Like a unit like Roxy, where there's almost no mistake you can make that you'll suffer the ultimate sacrifice for, unless Roxy can't drain back the HP from her reactive. That's part of what puts Roxy so far above other units, is that when you're using her, it's almost impossible to mess up. And everything that has been released in Global so far can be cleared easily with Soul. Everything that has yet to be released, it's going to be a little bit more of a challenge. If you have any other questions regarding Soul specifically, I'd be happy to answer them. But that's pretty much all I've got on this subject. I don't have any cool gameplay, because like I said, I didn't raise him, and almost no one puts him up as a merc anymore, because his leader skill is a little greedy. It's 40% HP, 20 missile, and 20 magic. And while his Kaigen leader skills changed that missile to 20 dark instead, it's hard to Kaigen him. So I haven't seen any yet. Maybe one of these days, if I find a good one, I'll try him out and put up some footage of him. So that's really all I have to say on the subject. So sorry for the rambling this time around. It's I just wanted to kind of set the record straight, that because I see a lot of stuff all over the place, and sometimes people hear the Japan players call Soul trash, and it's not necessarily that he's trash. He's just pre-Kaigen, he just really wasn't up to our standards, and I don't want you to take it too literally. He will be good on release, just not Roxy good, if you know what I mean. Anyways, have a great day. I hope to see you next time.